What is up, everyone? Welcome to VR FitSummit Finals for Until You Fall. My name is Nate McColm, or just McColm, as you can see in the graphic, and my title around here is... Okay, fine. Okay. And my title around here is Master of Miniatures for some reason. All kidding aside, though, I'm joined by Dwayne and Dave, two of the people at the studio who created the game. Guys, I am so glad you could be here today. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely, glad to be here.
Alright, so quick recap for everyone. Our three contestants today are Croesus, Impatient, and Cathal. Three very well-known names in the Until You Fall community and incredibly skilled players who we're very privileged to be able to see. There's an $800 prize pool up, with first place taking home $400, second place winning $300, and third place taking $100. And I can't wait to see how this plays out, because really, right now, it's anyone's game. So, Dwayne and Dave, while we're kind of getting ready, while we're getting things set up here, I got a few questions if you're willing to entertain me a little.
Yeah, go ahead.
Of course.
Alright, so what are you guys most excited to see about the contestants today?
I mean, like you said, they're kind of probably our top three. I mean, there are a lot of really talented players in our community, but I mean, obviously these three are the tops, and they've been with us very long, so them compete against each other for one, but also the fact that we have them using a variety of weird weapons, specifically the guitars. Like, they force you to play in a very different way. So having our best players use these weapons that are weird, but you know, once you get used to them, you can be pretty effective. It's just really exciting for me.
Yeah, and for me, I'm just excited to show the world how these skilled players can really get into the game. It's a very physical game, it's a very strategic game, and with the guitars that Dave mentioned, you really have to approach a game in a different way versus using an axe or some of the daggers. So I'll be really interested to see, based on the rewards they get from clearing each room, how they really tie their strategy to it.
Alright, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that actually ties into the next thing I wanted to ask you. So I've got to admit, this is one of, if not the most intense VR game experiences that I've seen in a very good while. I mean, I'd compare this to Skyrim VR, but in this, you can't just kind of like spam swing here and survive like you could in that. These contestants are so good at this. Ridiculously easy. Just so viewers at home can get an idea of the physical intensity that they're putting into this, what would you compare it to, or like how hard would you say that they're playing?
I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. I think it's the fact that they, I don't know. I mean, I've seen it compared to the elliptical. That's, like, in terms of, I gotta fix my microphone. Hold on.
Yeah, so I'll pick it up with Dave. So yes, well, with the game being rated by the VR Health Institute as just a couple minutes of the baseline gameplay of the challenging level is equivalent to I think it was like 5.3 calories per minute being playing the game. Now they're playing on Nightmare, and Dave will be able to talk about the different levels of the physicality and the intensity as you move from relaxed, challenging, relentless, and then Nightmare. So we are going to see some very intense combat. Are going to see them really try to bear their own advantage in the type of strategy that they are going to pursue. And so, with that, we can't give like they're going to spend 30 calories per minute playing the game with 20-25 minutes of gameplay that we would expect the run to be. For them to burn 300 calories, we can't quite say, but we're going to see some intense gameplay, and it'll be very exciting.
Alright, so I'm getting word from our production side here that we are starting, is that right? Okay, sweet. So we're going to be switching over to the stream right now, and let's just see what they do. I'm super excited for this.
Okay. Yeah, you sound good.
I know, you sound great, Dave.
Yeah, you sound good, Dave.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, this is good. This is good. Good combo. That's a good first room.
Alright, and here we are. So it looks like we're starting out, and All right, there we go. We've got all three now. I gotta admit, I'm seeing Impatient here, and the first thing that's coming to mind, because I'm a '90s kid like that, and the first thing that's coming to my mind is just that song "Blue" by Eiffel 65. Do you guys remember that? I know. I'm throwing it way back there with that, but okay. So far, we're in the introductory stages here. We're only, I'm guessing maybe about round 2 or 3 or wave 2 or 3, whatever you want to describe it as. What are you guys seeing that you'd specifically point out that they're doing right, that they could be doing better at, and what is? I guess what's your impression so far? Because we've got Croesus up on the screen. What are you guys thinking is happening?
Pretty efficient. Not great RNG, average. Not near record setters so far. Oh, damn it! That man has so little health. I just need to clap him. Come on, die. No!
Oh, I heard you just fine.
I wasted like 10 seconds. Ooh, why am I...
Okay. So Dwayne, why don't you want to pick up where Dave left off? Because we're not sure if he actually worked or not. So you go ahead and just reiterate that.
Yeah, so basically what is going on and what we're looking at for them really getting warmed up, really trying to figure out how they are going to use alternating strikes and what type of cash outs or what type of rewards they're going to get as they clear each room, because it's very important. One key aspect about the guitars is how you can use your right, your left, how you use the guitar names are Gemini Esper and Gemini Stranded. And so how you are upgrading the weapons, so how you use the different supers. I saw Cathal, he's a big fan of the concussive blast, and as you level it up, it can take on more damage, and it's a way for you to really take control of the battlefield, and you put the enemies in your advantage. And so it helps break down guard damage. With Impatient, it looks like that he is trying to go really heavy, trying to use, it looked like the Juggernaut reward, and while that may slow down his dash impact, it does increase the health damage. So we already can kind of see some of the strategies behind each one of the players.
Yeah, and that's one thing that, I'll be honest, I only found out about this game a few weeks ago, and so I've been doing a lot of research and looking into it and trying to understand how it all works. And that's one of the things that I've come to immensely respect about this game, is that there is no real sort of common meta that you see people do. Each one of these players is doing an entirely different type of playstyle. Like you mentioned, Cathal is going with the Juggernaut, whereas you've got Croesus going a completely different sort of route. And it's really interesting that they've been able to adapt these individual things to their own unique playstyles, and yet still do so closely in time to each other. Yeah,
it's very true. With as you get the different augments, as you clear the rooms, as you can see some of the people dealing, and already Croesus is already approached the first encounter with the Aether Horror, but you can see based on the augments that each person gets, it goes according to their play style. So somebody, for speed runs, you kind of like to use concussive blast because it breaks down damage as you go on. But there are some people like Impatient, like Cathal, who are more of the hack and slash. With this being a hack and slash roguelite, they really take that into account and really try to punish the enemy instead of using some of the other augments or supers to their advantage.
Yeah, you can really see Croesus kind of bullying the boss. Like, his playstyle, at least like from the very beginning, I've seen at least, has been all about dash damage and really just using the shoulder check to throw enemies off balance. Because something that we don't explicitly tell you in the game is that shoulder, like using the dash as the shoulder check, interrupts certain enemy animations. So as you get more familiar with the game and the enemies that you're fighting against, it's real powerful to use the dash to basically buy yourself some breathing room, and not necessarily having to dash backwards to get away from them, but like you can still just get right up in their grill and shoulder check them to just, again, keep controlling.
Yeah, and we're kind of seeing that. If you look at Cathal's screen right now, he's up against the 2 shield bearer guys, and I was just watching him just this moment, and he has been dashing around a lot, and he goes right back in and shoulder checks them, and it seems to throw them off balance like that. He's using that mechanic extremely well. The thing that really kind of sticks out to me, especially watching Cathal right now, is how much different, let me rephrase this. It is just how different of an approach they take to, like, say, the new YouTuber, like the popular YouTuber that's like, oh, this looks like a cool game, and they try it, and these shield bearers just wreck their face. I mean, I never saw one get past like a single shield bearer, maybe to the first kind of boss wave. These guys just make it look so easy.
And that's the thing that it's funny because we get a lot of feedback about the game being like, oh man, there's like, is there a lot going on here? Is there a lot of depth? And then once you actually get in there, it's like, oh my god, like, the fact that in VR it feels like there are dudes literally coming to hit you with swords, and so that's just a whole new experience that is exciting, but also just the fact that like it is incredibly physical. And like you mentioned, like they are making this look trivial, and they're playing on what is the hardest difficulty, where the enemies don't give you any quarter, and both in terms of the attack speed as well as coordination. So they will like gang up on you at the first chance that they get, and if you are not on top of controlling either the enemy like with your supers and crowd control, or just blocking all the attacks, like you will quickly get over.
Yeah,
sorry,
and go ahead.
Oh,
no, go ahead, Dwayne.
Yeah, so one case in point with Cathal, you see his playstyle. He's really focusing on just his right hand. So for him to be able to do more damage and to really use the guitars effectively, pulling more towards Croesus and Impatient of having more alternate strikes and having, just like what Dave said earlier, of really bullying the enemies, because you could be really fast with the guitars, but you could also use them strategically when you use both. So it looks like he's starting that now, but whenever he's getting his crits, he's really focusing on his right hand, and that might be a strategy he might want to change.
Yeah. So if I'm following you right, what you're saying is that he might want to shift it up and get more of an offhand type of strike rather than just being so reliant on his dominant one.
Exactly.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I understood you right there.
No problem.
I cannot get past Impatient looking like the blue dabba dee dabba die. I just keep staring at it and it keeps coming to my head. So. Yeah, this is just such a well done, well designed game, and honestly, I don't have an Oculus at home, but this makes me want to get one, and I am so excited for when the PSVR or when this comes out on the PSVR, because I will tell you right now, I am going to be all over it.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, and don't forget, tell your...
Yeah, no, we're stoked to get this on new platforms.
And tell 100 of your closest friends, too, about it, so...
Unfortunately, I've only got one other friend who's put the money down for a PSVR, and unfortunately, I don't really have that kind of clout. Sorry, I'll do what I can, but
there's still time. I have faith in you yet.
Yeah. So
send this email to your closest friends.
No. Okay, hold on. This is a VR competition. This is not an MLM. We're not going that route.
That's fair.
So, and believe me, I live in the state where those are the biggest things. So Okay, so I've kind of lost count. Do you guys know exactly where we're about? It looks like Croesus might be on the second Nightmare encounter. Am I right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's correct. Croesus is now fighting the
Okay.
second boss. So the tier 2 boss is basically a oh
Yeah,
my
he
god,
really
he is
is.
just blowing through it. But the second boss is two elite captains that if you kill them one at a time, they get pissed off and become very hard to deal with. So as you can see with Croesus right now, he is basically working his way through the enemy encounter, basically the ads that spawn when you deal with that captain. But it looks like he was able to basically
That is
get through that pretty quickly or fast enough that the elite captain was no
that's
longer a
just
threat.
So if
wild.
I'm, yeah, no, I mean it's amazing how fast he's going through this. So it looks like he's probably in first at the moment, unless I'm reading this wrong.
No, he's definitely in the lead in terms of
Yeah, I
just
think-
sheer speed. Both Kelethal and Impatient are like hot on his heels, but the fact that he was able to get through the second boss so quickly is going to give him a nice.
Yeah, what do you
kind of
think? Is
buffer.
Yeah.
Cathal second and Impatient third? Is that right, Dave?
It feels like
They're
they're
really
neck and
close.
neck to me. Yeah, like because the encounters are random, it's hard to get an exact sense
fair.
of
That's
where
true.
they are. But
Yeah, and that was one thing I know that was discussed when coming up with rules for like a tournament like this, is just because of the randomness of it, because of the random number generator affecting buffs, affecting mobs. This can be so subject to change, and so hence why we've gone with the format we did. So one thing I do want to point out here, though, that really stuck out to me about these three guys is that they're all very, very close. I mean, the spread in the qualifiers was a whopping 38 seconds
Wow.
between first and third. Yeah, it was not much. And so today, we're already seeing it, is that we're going to have a very, very evenly matched field, and it's really just going to depend on, luck to a degree, but also just the skill of these players. Like yesterday with at the VR FitSummit with The Walking Dead, it was pretty obvious who was going to win after about the first 15 to 20 minutes. This, I honestly don't know. It is anyone's game.
yeah, the fact that we're basically going to see kind of the best of like the average of all the different rounds, like it will give can't blame it all on the RNG. So that'll be nice, but like you can definitely see like. As Dwayne was kind of pointing out earlier, is that like, okay, Croesus is really taking advantage of the alternating strikes, and he is maximizing that damage by using his right, left in that order. And the way we designed the Katars was that I don't know which ones they're using per hand, but one of them is dominant for guard damage, and the other is dominant for health damage. And so it's kind of learning about which traits to maximize their effectiveness. Like doubling down on, do you double down on the health damage that one that already does health damage, or do you try to kind of balance it out so that they're both effective? And for Croesus, I believe he is really leaning into the strength of each one, at least based off the traits I've seen him pick so far. But yeah, no, you can see it already paying dividends. Like he is just blazing through these encounters.
Yeah, well, and he is. I mean, he went into this being the favorite here, but again though, he was only 18 seconds ahead of Impatient, so not a huge amount. So yeah, this is going to be a very, very interesting game. So, so where do you like? I mean, you guys obviously know these players pretty well. They're strong voices. They're well known in the Until You Fall community. Where do you see their individual strengths? Where do you see their individual weaknesses? Like, what do you think they're going to do really well at today, and what do you think they're going to struggle with the most?
Yeah, so I think, like you said, Croesus is the favorite. I think he's going to be hard to catch, even with the multiple runs. So what Dave mentioned of just Croesus' knowledge of the health and guard damage and how each weapon affects and regarding the gameplay will be big for him. For Cathal, just really getting a little bit more comfortable with the weapons. I think he might have been the second fastest, so just his pure skill will really help him. If he leaned in a little bit more with the alternating strikes, like Dave mentioned, I think he'll catch Croesus a little bit faster. And then for Impatient, getting some good RNG and trying to just learn the guitars a little bit, because he was pretty vocal in the Discord that the guitars weren't something that he often used. So probably out of the three, he might be the most uncomfortable, and so he might have the most to learn.
Yeah, but I mean, you gotta hand it to a patient though. Like throughout the entire time this game's been early access, he's been finding the weirdest, most circuitous bugs. And so he has a real talent for, I don't want to say abusing the game systems, but he's real good at, I don't know, just yeah, he's good at finding the both the weaknesses of the enemies, whether they're designed as intended or not. So I think as long as he can kind of build up his own confidence with using his weapons, as you said, I think he's going to be able to, I don't know, surprise us.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. Like if he gets a good run with some RNG that he knows how to use, I think that he could pull together a really impressive run.
Well, you gotta, as a coder, I'm sure you love these people, well, love and hate them at the same time when they find these sort of bugs. And you're like, great, now we know how to fix it. But great, I have to go back into the encoding and figure out where this is.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the engineering team obviously is like, oh god, okay, another bug. But at the same time, it's like, as a designer, I love it, because in a lot of ways, we design the game and design the stats in a way so that we make the players feel clever. But the pure delight is when you actually see players do something you don't expect. It's like, oh, I didn't actually imagine them to use this weapon in this way, and they kind of teach you a thing or two about what's going on.
Impatient is down. That I did not expect. And he's blocking it here, but looks like 13, round 13, if I saw that right.
Yeah, he was getting very close. So he's gonna have to go back through and give it another go, but it's definitely gonna hurt his chances here. But again, I think he's got a good shot if he can just maintain. He was going for a very risky build, it looked like, where he opted to lose a lot of health in favor of power, which is my personal favorite because I'm a gambler at heart, I guess. But I think you got to be very careful, because it's very easy for you to just eat it at the wrong moment, because again, they're playing on Nightmare, which means that enemies are attacking the fastest they possibly can and are not going to give you
It's very unforgiving, and I mean, to the point earlier, I hate to be right that he has the longest or the biggest curve in terms of using the guitar. So just like Dave said, let's just hope that he learns his lesson, and there you go. He's starting to use more alternating strikes, and hopefully with the rewards that he'll get just a little bit more health, because I think he can do it. But that strategy for power was just perhaps a mistake.
It's a risk reward thing, and it didn't pay off. So
absolutely. I mean, you can even see Croesus now. He's doing a similar maneuver, and he is almost out of health. So he is on the final encounter, and he is if one false step is going to...
Yeah, that's what I was about to point out, is that he is right here on the final encounter with his boss. This is one thing I did notice about Croesus, though, watching some of his videos, is that he does tend to run very, very close to the edge. Usually I'll see him with one little health crystal, maybe two, as he's going through. And I've always wondered, is he doing this because there's some buff that he's getting from being lower health, like he's doing extra damage like a berserker thing, or is this just his play style?
I mean, it's a little bit of both. There he goes. He's got the boss. He's clearing it out right now, so good on him. He's just got to get through that portal. But to answer your question, there are some traits and power-ups that encourage you to run at low health. So the fact that he's kind of doubling down on that, and as long as you can confidently continue that playstyle, there are huge benefits. And if you can go down to 2 or 1 health, you don't even need to take damage to take advantage of certain traits. So I think it just helps that Croesus knows the game so well and has the confidence to really pull this playstyle off and really take advantage of the different rewards. So
well done, Croesus.
Good on you, Croesus.
So it looks like are we waiting on Croesus to start a second run for these other two, or are we just gonna? Is he just gonna jump into it? I wasn't quite clear about that beforehand.
I think he's just gonna jump in. Like, assuming you have time, I think he's gonna do another run because I think it's just gonna be the best to.
Oh, okay. So he did just jump in. Well, yeah, it's the best of two. I just wasn't clear if we were waiting for the other two to catch up first, but no, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the break is at the 45 minutes, and then they'll start a new. But within that, 45, they could do the two whenever.
Okay. So so it looks like Kelthal. If I'm pronouncing that right, I've always the apostrophe always throws me.
Fact.
Of course, it's like Drizzt.
Yeah. So, Kethal. Okay, so we'll just call him Keth just for simplicity's sake. So it seems like Keth. He looks like that looks like the last boss.
Yep. Yeah, he's there. He is now fighting the tier 3 boss. You can see him getting nice and limber, getting ready for it. The boss does a little bit of posturing before he jumps down to the arena, so you have some time to kind of collect yourself.
So that's one thing I feel like kind of puts... I don't want to say puts them at a disadvantage here, but the fact that they have to wait for that kind of an animation when you're doing a speed run like this, I mean, every second counts. And so he's going to have to make up for this. But then again, so is Croesus. I mean, he has to go through the same thing.
Oh, for sure. And I think the other thing that's kind of an interesting point is that, especially when you're doing kind of a speed run like this, a big part of the game's design is like, okay, you get your rewards at the end of each room, and we don't have you in combat, so you can take your time to think. In a setting like this, you can't actually spend too much time thinking about what your build is, so it can lead to a lot of almost suboptimal decisions about how you want to build your weapons during the run. So that time pressure really kind of manifests itself in a lot of different ways that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, well, and I love just how situationally aware you have to be in this fight. Because, I mean, not only... Because this is something that I could see throwing a lot of inexperienced players. Like, okay, you gotta slash, you gotta dodge, you gotta slash, you gotta dodge. Oh, look, spikes from the ground. You're dead.
Oh, yeah, and it's a mess. And the final boss is also just a real jerk. Because a lot of the stuff that he throws, especially on the harder difficulties, it tries to trick you to move in ways that like feel safe. It's like, oh, he's going to do an AoE attack. I better back up. And oftentimes that's the wrong move because you actually want to get closer to him for certain types of attacks. So you can really see the mastery and kind of the familiarity with these fights as he's avoiding the different kind of patterns of ground attacks.
Yeah, you guys did a very good job with designing this. Like, I think, obviously, you know, there's always room for improvement in anything, but I think this is a groundbreaking sort of concept and game that you've put together here, and I really... I can't praise your work enough. I really can't.
Hey, don't fill his head with too much. We still got a 1.0 that we got to release.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. We have to get this. We actually have to finish the thing, I guess.
Well, no. Technically, you don't. I mean, if you look at a game like 7 Days to Die, they started in alpha back in 2013, and yet they're still in alpha. So
you're saying just never finish games?
Exactly. I mean, it's working for them. They've put out, you know, they're on alpha build 19 or something.
Okay,
right now.
Bacall, whose team are you on here? It is tough to market an unfinished game, so we're gonna push it at 1.0.
Yeah. Well, no, it all just depends on your definition of unfinished. I mean, you know. Just saying. No, but you guys, truly though, I am very impressed with this game. You guys have done a fantastic job, and I really cannot wait to see the PSVR get imported into this kind of competition.
Yeah, I mean, just get the idea, the ability to get more people able to play this game, and again, a big thing we tried to focus on for all the new versions, the new platforms, is just make sure that the feel of the game is preserved. Like, we didn't want this to be a watered-down version of the experience. Like, all the combat encounters, all the content, all the difficulty is the same. And we had to make adjustments for the different platforms, but we wanted to make sure that everyone playing on the different platforms, you know, got to experience until you fall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it looks like Keth just finished the
He did. That took
boss.
him a lot longer than it did for Croesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I think Dwayne called it out earlier. It's the alternating strikes. You can see Croesus right now going through the tier 1 boss right now. He's just wailing on his face with those guitars.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Impatient is almost... I mean, I can't see where the round thing was, but it looks like he's almost caught up to that point, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah. All right, so it looks like Keth was at 24 minutes, 51 seconds. Right on the dot. Wow, look at even the milliseconds.
Yeah, dang. You don't see that often.
That's real good. I think Croesus's time was faster. Like, I think we all felt that, but I think again, the fact that they're clearing the hardest difficulty in 24 minutes in like one go is incredibly impressive. Like, we were expecting average players, and we see average players take anywhere from like 35 to 45 minutes to get through this on even the low.
Yeah, and I was going to ask what you designed this for in terms of the average player, what you wanted to see them do. Because, I mean, 45 minutes, that's an immersive game. That's a workout.
Oh, for sure. And I think really, like, when we first set out, like, the physical nature of it was kind of like, yeah, we wanted to make it physical because, it works the best for the platform. So, like, big, wide swings, it tracks the best for the variety of different headsets, but it also makes you feel powerful and look powerful. And so the fact that people are, like, really just doing this for 45 minutes and then, like, feeling the effects in ways that they're not expecting, like, it's like, oh man, this is getting a lot harder. No, it's the game, the difficulty is the same. You've been physically taxing yourself for almost an hour now, so your body is almost rebelling against you, but it's really easy to just kind of lose track of that. But yeah, again, we were shooting for about maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes for the average run.
Yeah. So I'm seeing in the chat now, Cathal's saying that he is taking a water break real quick before he gets to his second run. So and for anyone at home that doesn't know the way that we're structuring this, we're taking the best time out of 2, from what I understand. And so, that's not going to affect him, thankfully.
Right.
But yeah, but I mean, it just goes to show you that's if you have to take a water break right after your first run, that is how intense this can get.
Yeah, to Dave's point, I mean,
absolutely.
These are some of the best players in our Discord community. So for them to be clearing the hardest difficulty in between, I think Croesus might have been close to 18. I'm not sure. We'll have to get a double check. I'm not sure. It felt really, really fast, but to see these players do it just under 25 is just crazy.
Yeah, and it's extremely impressive. But I mean, the greats make it look easy. It's the old saying.
Absolutely. And I mean, like, again, like, speaking of making it look easy, like, all 3 players, to their credit, are like, they are using the supers basically as soon as they're up. Like, it's something that I know I struggle with, and I help make the damn game, but like, I want to hoard my resources. But in order to get through these as quickly and as effectively as possible, every time your supers are up, you just want to start using those things.
So it's not a resource management thing. It's just you get it, boom, you get it, boom, you get it, boom. You just keep burning through it. You don't hold on to it for a special occasion.
Right.
Oh yeah, I think if you're going for speed, that has to be the case. And like, you get this kind of sixth sense about when you should or shouldn't use your supers. But again, like, we designed them so that you want to use them kind of at the right moment. And so there's that temptation there to be like, okay, I'm going to hold on to it and wait for the perfect moment. But in a setting like this, again, like, you don't have the time to wait.
So, it's funny. I would never be good at something like this, and I'll tell you exactly why. Is because I was the kid who, growing up, when I played Pokemon, I'd get, that rare item where it's like, in battle, you can resurrect all your Pokemon with full health and full attack power or whatever, and I'd still hold on to it. I'd be at the last boss of the final 4, and I'd be like, there's probably a situation this is gonna be more useful. And so I'd be doing the same thing here. I'm like, do I want to burn this now? Do I want to use it? I mean, I know it can recharge it, but...
Yeah,
okay, so
absolutely.
Impatient, it looks like he just died again.
Yeah, I think he was down. He was at the second boss, and
it is
his low health playstyle again, showing the risk.
It is not his day today,
of that,
sadly.
I can't. I mean, I don't want to say it's the blue suit, but
well, I mean, He'll be feeling a blue emotion, maybe.
I mean, honestly, I'm thinking the blue suit's the source of the power, so maybe it needs to be more blue.
That's right. More shades of blue.
I don't know. The blues. Remember the song? I'm blue, dabba dee, dabba die. That's what he's done that twice now.
Maybe
so
just foreshadowing.
It very well could be, but as long
when in doubt.
Oh gosh, that is so true in this year. What I would give to be back in the 90s with the crazy hairstyles and the giant boombox and the
when those were our worries.
A simpler time.
Oh yeah. So man, I feel old now.
Yeah, no, right there with you. It's funny talking about the Pokemon not using items thing. The thing that we always refer to it, at least in the on the team, is the Final Fantasy Elixir problem, where again, like you get those items that you're just super powerful. And it's like, well, I need to wait for the perfect boss fight, and then you beat the game with about 95 of them in your inventory because the item is too powerful that you don't want to use it because it seems so important to hold on to.
Yeah, and the only game that I've seen do some sort of incentive for something like that, where if you don't use it, you actually get something out of it, was Super Mario RPG, where if you had a bunch of fireworks in your inventory at the end, you got a bigger fireworks show after you beat the last boss.
That's really cute. Actually, I don't actually think I know that. That's
awesome. I played that game so much when I was younger. I mean, that was my favorite Super Nintendo game of like all time. So, I mean, but it was made by the same people who did Final Fantasy, so it's not surprising.
Yeah, it's got the pedigree there.
Anywho, so looking at Croesus, I mean, he looks like he's nearing the end of his second run here.
He is. I think he's probably 1 or 2 rooms away from the tier 3 boss. So he's just comfortably kind of blasting through this. It looks like he's got Sparklight on his weapons too, so you can see that the enemy is kind of bursting into flames every once in a while there. So those traits basically encourage you to hit fast and hit hard because there's a chance of your opponent to burst into flames and take a damage over time effect that skips guard. And man, he is just melting these captains, and they're all man. And you can see them looking all intimidating, but they just kind of collapse before they can even finish their little aggro animation.
Cruising.
He's good. So the Sparklight thing, that's a dot effect though, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that applies the status effect Soul Burn, which is one of the supers, but because we're forcing them to use guitars, it's not one of the supers they have available to them. But with Sparklight, they can make it so that any weapon has a chance to apply the damage over time effect.
Well, and ultimately, in a lot of ways, at least in a lot of games from my experience, the damage over time ultimately can come out to be greater than just the burst damage you can get. So it makes sense to be doing that. So.
Oh yeah, especially in this game in particular, because of the way that the guard bar and the health mechanics work for the enemies, having damage that ignores the guard of an enemy is hugely beneficial.
Well, yeah, I can imagine. Because I mean, you look at what Croesus is dealing with now with him just against the guard captain like that, and they've got so much armor to deal through. Not to mention the big old shield and the way that they can just block attacks. I mean, you gotta get in there. You have to be fast and get that damage in. And to have something that can linger after you can't attack anymore is just, it can be critical.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that combined with a well-timed super with either Shard Storm or Concussive Blast, which at the higher levels does health damage through their guard, you can really just set them up to be basically like knocked over.
So I got a question then that I want to ask. Like, why the guitars on all of them rather than let them choose their own particular build?
Yeah,
Dwayne,
so the guitars really show a strategic way to get through the game, right? So you have to understand your supers, you have to understand how each strike can affect another, so, that's alternative strike method. And so it just shows a a mastery of combat within the game that I thought it was very intriguing. And also, the way the game works, whenever you get through, you first clear a couple of rooms, different weapons unlock. So it's another way to show people who are watching who may have maybe unlocked 4 or 5 of the weapons, that there's still some really cool reasons to continue through, push through, whichever difficulty to, get all the weapons and test them out.
Yeah, and the guitars themselves are only unlocked when you beat the game for the first time, so this is another way to kind of show off mastery of weapons that some players maybe just haven't used a lot. And so it's kind of cruel, but this is a way to get players to use weapons that, again, are probably, besides maybe the offhand weapons, are some of the more unique in the way that they handle and the way that you're forced to use them to attack and block.
No, and I think it's a smart idea. I mean, you've got people that haven't seen these, so like Dwayne was saying, but also it does force a mastery of the game. I mean, you can't just run through with a sort of meta build that you found that works. I was just curious what the logic was behind it, but I think it's a brilliant idea.
Thank you.
And actually, we have someone actually here in the chat saying they prefer the Qatar over the KBC. So
there you go. A man.
Also to whoever has the dog, you're being asked to pet the dog. I'm assuming that's you, Dwayne.
It probably is me. Yeah.
Okay, cool. You can die.
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of until you fall, and we call our players champions. Yeah, my 90-pound pit bull is named Hero, so he kind of fits into all of this.
Ah.
Yeah, it's on brand.
It's on brand.
Well, I've got a 13-pound tuxedo cat named Zorro that I am expecting to ruin this cast at any moment. So. I mean, he's cute and he's adorable and loving and all that, but man, he is a terrorist sometimes, and I can't have the doors closed for this.
Absolutely. So yeah, we our cats thankfully are in the other room, but one of them is named Echo, and it's not because he's quiet. So a very loud cat that usually will decide that, hey, it's time for dinner, and he's not gonna let me forget about it. So he's off, kind of doing his own thing right now, thankfully.
Okay, so
we can instead just focus.
So real quick, I want to highlight one person from the chat because they've said the exact same thing that I said at the start of this, and they started putting Eiffel 65. And so thank you, Taco Baby Daddy, for saying it beyond just me. So looking at Croesus, it looks like we're wrapping up here. He's dealing with the ads that come with the third boss, so he's about to finish, and we're
assuming he doesn't get got by either the ads or, again, this is a really dangerous part that he's making look trivial, but in addition to a bunch of elite enemies that are just going to gang up on you, the boss is going to be throwing projectiles both that you need to block, but as well as ground attacks.
Yeah, like I was mentioning earlier, I mean, this is what separates players from, champions, is that you have to be situationally aware in this case. You have to know what's going on. It can't just be, block, block, block projectile, because then all of a sudden spikes come up and impale you like you're in Castlevania anime.
Right,
which is a pretty gruesome... Impatient died again! Wow!
Man.
He is just not having a good day. I feel for him.
I can't imagine myself playing at this level. So again, and I helped make the game, and so seeing how far they're even making it and how quickly they're making it is still very
okay.
impressive.
So it looks like Croesus, did he finish? Yeah, it looks like he finished.
Yep,
all right, so
finished crushing the boss's heart.
Let's get that time as soon as that disappears. Okay, so we are looking at 1914.
19 minutes.
19 minutes, 14 seconds?
Yeah. So under 20 minutes is incredible to me.
Yes, you can take a break just to process. You're good.
Yep, so alright, so that leaves us with well done, Croesus. Well played.
Yeah, excellent job.
So we've got Cathal and Impatient. Cathal, if we could go back, there we go. Thank you. Cathal, unless I'm mistaken, that looks like just before the second boss attempt.
No, he's actually
okay,
on
so
the
he is on the
right
second
now,
boss.
so
I was going to say it's either that or just before it.
Yep.
So yeah, he's on good pace here. I don't know what his time is like, but again, he did take that water break in between rounds there. So
yeah,
and Impatient is
no, he's doing pretty good. Oh, look at that! The 1-2 combo with the concussive blast, taking out those captains.
Yep.
That's the way to do it, because you don't even give them a chance to get angry and take up a bunch of your time. Because the thing is they attack quickly, they force you to move around a lot more, and if you are not careful, they'll just kill you because that's what they do. But also they just waste your time. So that was really slick.
No, that was beautifully done. That was really beautifully done. Honestly though, this is what I would expect from like a VR game, is one that really gets you immersed into it, one that really forces you to be super active and to just push yourself beyond just, swinging your arms. Because you've got to duck, you've got to move, you have to keep yourself situationally aware, which in and of itself is mentally exhausting. I mean, these are just... For anyone who says video games it can't be a sport, they're just games, I dare you to jump into something like this. Because this is just intense.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Again, yeah, I mean, like... even just like as we're developing the fights and as we're kind of balancing the enemies, like we have to be careful to make sure that we didn't injure ourselves or our players. Like, again, part of the reason why we kind of balance the way that basically the swing and the way we reward damage is so that you don't hurt yourself. So in the game, again, bigger swings, wider swings does damage, not faster. So because early on we found very quickly that players would try to just wrench their arms because it's like, oh, obviously if I swing faster it will do gooder, and so there's a lot of work that goes into the feedback and basically the kind of tutorialization of the game to be like, yep, swinging your arms wide and kind of taking these big sweeping gestures is safer and probably better physically, but also just the effective way to play.
I like that kind of meme image of swing harder, do gooder.
And I mean, that's the thing. It's like when we first were like even before the game came out in early access, a lot of the early playtests was about finding like, hey, how do we tell the player in obvious ways or not that this is the way they should be swinging their weapons? Because again, like I was saying, the intent is usually just like, yep, I'm just gonna go ham and start machine gunning these enemies, just like, I don't know, windmilling my arms around, and that will probably do the most damage because obviously that's the way it works.
Well, I mean, if you played Skyrim VR, yes, that is the way that it works.
Yeah, and a lot of work went into kind of disincentivizing that and kind of like breaking people out of those habits.
Well, and to be fair to Skyrim VR, that's just my particular play style. It's kind of funny. Like, are you familiar with the show Firefly by any chance? I mean, what nerd isn't? But so there's that one episode where Zoe's talking about, there's two schools of thought when it comes to battle, and one is never let the enemy know where you are, which is my wife's play style. And then two is Mal busting in screaming, I'm right here, come and get me, which is my play style. So my wife actually would love this, would actually not really probably enjoy this game quite as much because she loves the stealth kind of approach. But yeah, no, this is, I'm in awe of what you guys have done here. And again, I know I've said this earlier, but you have put together a really, really incredible game.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, so much of, again, kind of like leaning into that kind of, hey, I'm right here. The entire game is built around that. Like, again, the fantasy of this game is you are a badass knight from the start. You are not some squire that has to learn how to become a hero. This is you being a badass knight, becoming a literal sword god, and you need to go into each of these encounters, and you can't back down until one of you falls in combat.
Well, and I think this is what so many gamers, especially in the world of VR, want these days, is that you play video games to, not only get a story or just kind of be an escape, but you want to feel like you're in something bigger than yourself. You want to feel like you can actually do the adventure that you see on TV or in the movies or anything like that, and this gives you the opportunity to do that. Not everyone, you don't get to be a swordmaster these days. That's just not a thing. But here, you do.
I mean, for sure. Oh yeah, and I think so a term I like to use, and like kind of for at least the look and the feel and the sound of everything, like the weird neon, basically hellscape that we've built and these weird neon nights that you're fighting. It's this. The term is misremembered nostalgia, because it's kind of like, okay, this is the kind of thing that you may have seen one time on the side of an arcade cabinet. And this is what you imagine the game felt like when you played it, or what you remembered it like. And so trying to capture that feeling of like, yeah, this is the warm fuzzy feeling, or this is like the totally rad feeling of gameplay that I had playing this, either very, on returning to it, like, no, maybe it doesn't hold up necessarily, or, oh no, I actually just totally made that part up in my mind. For Until You Fall, we wanted to really just like make you feel like that's what it is. Like, this is the misremembered nostalgia, and you were just living it in VR.
No, and you did a great job with that, because I mean, you want to talk about misremembered nostalgia. Like, I remember, growing up, and again, I'm going to date myself here, but going to like Nickelcade and whatnot. There was a Star Wars game there, and for me, like, I'm a huge Star Wars guy. Like if I could show beyond my green screen here, you'd see just all sorts of Star Wars memorabilia on the walls. And my wife even has a quote from Yoda written in the Star Wars alphabet inscribed on my wedding band. Like, that's how big it is to me. And so there was a Star. Oh, that's yeah, dude, Marry a Gamer. It is great.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Our date night is playing World of Warcraft together. It is fantastic. But I digress. Anyway, though, what I was saying was there was a Star Wars arcade game at Nickelcade, which, it had the X-Wings and it had everything else, and it made me feel like this, like looking at the side of it, I was so excited, because it's like, this is what I want to be able to play, even if it is just, a little joystick A-B type deal. I get into it, and it's like, it's not even like T-frame stuff, it's just like literal blocks for like turbo lasers and whatnot, and like the X-Wing is literally like a very narrow rectangle with other rectangles coming off. And it was the most disappointing thing to my 11-year-old self. Because I was like, but I wanted to fly the ship. And because my family was cheap, we didn't have an N64 at that point, so I couldn't play Rogue Squadron, which is, I loved that game. But, yeah, I mean, so this really does fill that misplaced nostalgia hole that you were talking about. And like this, I know exactly what you're talking about. I would have loved for that game to have been that nostalgia that I wanted it to actually be.
Yeah, it's hard because it's like, at the same time, like, we're not, Until You Fall's not trying to reference anything specifically. Like, we're just trying to capture that.
And you do a good job.
So it's like we're not going for that, like, oh hey, remember the 80s. Because again, like, you can do that, and there's a lot of stuff that I like that is in that, basically that sphere. But I don't know. I feel like the stronger media tends to be stuff that evokes those things without necessarily like forcing you to either look up the reference or having to know the reference to be feeling like you're in.
Well, I mean, there's that old saying, brevity is the soul of wit, and I think it's very, very applicable to something like this. You don't want people to have to look something up to get why it's in the game. The less you have to explain, the better. So, totally. All right, if we're going to jump to Cathal here real quick, it looks like he's on the last boss, and of course the camera, there we go, better camera angle. So he's using the concussive blast again, and really just throwing these knights off their game. And to get to this level, I just cannot believe the amount of work you have to put in. I mean, it's insane.
Oh, yeah, and you can see him there, like, at this point in the game, like, with all the traits he's picked, with everything he's kind of unlocked for his weapons, the supers are, like, ready to go within a couple hits. So, like, he is making great use of each time it's up. So, like, bam, there's a short storm, there's concussive blast, and basically he's using it to keep the guy locked down, and there it is. There's the boss. Now he's just showing off the concussive blast. Look at him. So he's eating that heart. It's good.
He's performing too. He bent over to.
Yes.
I love that. Wipes his mouth. Oh, Croesus knows how to do this, but Cathal knows how to put on a show.
Right. He's a performer. He's an entertainer.
All right, so let's see. What time did we get here?
All right.
All right,
Big reveal.
today, Junior.
2051.
And it looks like. Yep, 2051.
2051.
Like what the voices in my head are telling me.
Yeah, that's a good time.
Yeah, that's
an
pretty
insanely
good time.
time.
Like that is really good.
Yeah, good stuff.
So, all right, so
See
it
how
looks
Impatient
like I'm just gonna go out on a limb and guess this, but Impatient might only get the one run in this.
That may be the case.
Because I mean, the amount of deaths that he's had, that's really put him back.
Should we wait for Impatient to finish?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, I think he's got a good shot as long as he's not letting those other deaths kind of get to him. Like the hard part is that I tend to get real easily tilted, especially if I just keep getting my ass kicked. But at the same time, like you are physically getting more and more tired, so it's really just like your reactions are slowing down in ways that you don't immediately.
What,
recognize.
you mean swinging your arms around like a madman for 45 minutes straight isn't gonna exhaust you? Psh,
Well, weird.
I know.
would've
What kind of
thought.
weekling are you, dude?
I'm so,
You gotta get better on the arms day, dude. Spending too much time doing leg day.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Don't worry about it. You're the last one. As soon as you finish, we're gonna go on break. So don't worry about it. Just complete your run adjustment.
So, honestly though, what I would love to see is these guys play Beat Saber.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that they're swinging and everything else, I think it would be a lot of fun to watch that. Of course, I'd probably lose Impatient with the blue suit, with all the blue that comes in that game, but
Yeah, no, that's...
not to market the competition.
No. It's not competition at all. Actually, we've discovered that there was a lot of overlap with the Beat Saber and Until You Fall crowd. So a lot of people do both, and they add them to their fitness workouts. They'll do 40 minutes of Until You Fall and 30 minutes to an hour of Beat Saber, and it's more of a compliment than a direct competitor.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome then. So someone's actually saying, or actually a couple people are saying in chat that Impatient actually does a lot of Beat Saber. So no, Benny Boo, we cannot just make them play Beat Saber on here. We're here for the Until You Fall stream.
Just so you know, I'm gonna switch back to the cast review once he's done this run.
So no, this has been a lot of fun to watch each of them do this though. So they've all got very unique playstyles. They've all got very unique takes on things, and this has just been really, really entertaining to see them do this. So unless I'm mistaken,
sure.
Impatient looks like he's coming up on. He's very close to the last boss. Am I right?
Yeah, I think he's got maybe 2, maybe 3 rooms. I want to say 2 though, based off of kind of what we've seen so far. So I think he's got about 2 rooms left before he gets to the final boss. So he's definitely he is definitely making good progress now. He's kind of buckled down and really started focusing. And you can see that technique of alternating strikes, like he's playing the drums basically.
Yeah, he's...
So not only
go ahead.
So not only are we incorporating Beat Saber, we're also dragging in Rock Band as well.
Oh, man.
Absolutely, yeah.
We're covering all the bases today.
Good stuff.
Absolutely. Get bass, you get it?
Ouch.
Forced, but all right.
Hey, get Dave in his element. We're going to get a couple of those.
Oh, it's not the worst. I've got a good friend who he has the gift of puns, as we call it. So
You don't mean the curse? It's It's the kind of thing where usually if you have one in your head, it's hard to just not let it blurt out, even if it's just.
Let me put it to you this way:
it's a two-headed sword, right? It could be really good, and other times, not.
Oh yeah, probably about that.
Let me put it this way to you. We've had him over for like dinner and whatnot. I had to threaten to have him leave because it was just too much. It got to be a lot, and I think he even turned a pun out of that too. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, Ben, just stop!"
Oh no!
Oh come on.
So, all right. Well, Impatient seems to have recovered actually fairly well. I mean, it was a really, really rocky start, but he's
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if he changed up his build. I don't know if he's more active on the double strikes or with being more defensive, or he's just trying to be more situationally aware. But he's come a long way from where he started, just a few deaths ago.
Yeah. Oh, but he's on Death's Door now, so hopefully he can keep kind of hold on. Okay, he's good there.
Okay,
so.
Nail biter, frick.
Yeah. So he's doing good. Again, like he's going for the high dash damage build, like which is good, but again, like at this point in the run, I would probably be looking to take a little more health just to have the security. So again, it's very risky, and like if you want, obviously if you can kill the enemies before they can hit you, that's great. But again, like you can see here now, he's back on Death's Door. So if he's not careful, he's just gonna this is gonna be the end of his run.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, like you said, the end of his run. I mean, if he dies here, he doesn't have time in the round to do another one, does he?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
We've already got 2 on the other guys.
Yeah, either he dies or finishes.
Yeah, he put me through the wall. He got me through the wall.
So
you can see here, like he's taking it to them, and so he's getting those, he's hitting those attacks. But man,
I am
very anxious watching this.
I am like my toes are just curling up like, oh, this is gonna.
Oh no! Oh! Got hit by the captain's AoE there. That's rough.
Especially right there at the end.
And like you can see it, like he was maybe 1 or 2 rooms away. Oh, that's brutal.
Looks like the next room would have been the boss.
Yeah.
Oh, Impatient.
That was a really good attempt, Impatient. I'm real like sorry, man. That's rough.
Sometimes you just have a rough day. Sometimes it is not a great day.
Yeah.
So, all right. What were your observations on that? What could they have all done better? What did they do well? Obviously for Impatient, let's just start with Impatient. Obviously, not dying. But apart from that,
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was talking about a little bit before the run ended. But again, knowing when to basically go for the safer option in terms of rewards. Like I saw a couple opportunities of going for health or going for health recovery, and maybe that would have helped save the run. At least would have given him a couple more chances to get hit. But again, if you're going for that time, you want to go for the high damage builds.
Yeah, and just
Dwayne?
just for him getting comfortable with the weapons, we didn't see until his final run that he was really embracing the alternating strikes and using the supers, what they're made to do, of doing it immediately. So yeah, for Impatient, it was still just a learning curve of using the weapons.
all right. Well, everyone in chat, press F to pay respects for Impatient. So, all right, Croesus. What could he have done better, and where did he do well?
I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's really hard to point at anything in particular that he needs to really improve on. Like getting sub 20 on a run is very impressive. I think finding other ways to really lean in on basically just the damage output. You can see that he's just churning through it. Like there were a couple times maybe I saw he could be using the supers more aggressively, but I can't really argue with the results.
Dwayne?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that could really improve Croesus Yeah, I mean, I'd echo Dave. Keep on doing what you're doing, and if he gets more powerful, RNG, that's only going to improve his run.
All right, and then Cathal, what did he do well? Where could he have improved? Where do you think?
I think it's the alternating strikes. I think, not to kind of beat that dead horse, but I think he's making it work. He's getting really good times, but I think he could really just speed things up if he really leaned into the kind of strength of the guitars of, using each one in succession. And I think that'd be a real surefire way to increase your time, but not to make light of it, but it's a very difficult thing to get used to, and it's a very easy thing to either lose the rhythm to or get so caught up in focusing on that rhythm that you can just get wrecked by the enemies that you're trying to fight.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think his reliance on just his dominant hand, his right arm, hurt his time. Even though it's still a really good time, he can really challenge Croesus by embracing the alternating strikes.
So I like what Cathal actually said here in chat in regards for what he could do better. A third arm, maybe? There are a number of games where I know that could come in handy. But that was great. All three contestants did very, very well. Some did better than others. Hopefully, Impatient can kind of recover in this next round. We'll see. But right now, we're going in. Croesus is still kind of the favorite. I think, personally, I do think Cathal has a good chance of catching up on him. But yeah, I think Cathal has a good chance of catching up on him. So
yeah, I think Cathal has a chance if he just switches those two things up to embrace the alternating strikes and to try to move a little bit faster. I think he can do it. Yeah, absolutely. It'll be fun to watch.
It will be. So yeah, I did have other questions for you, kind of while we're waiting for everyone to gear up. Given how we're kind of waiting for everyone to kind of queue up again. So I did have a question I wanted to ask you because I know this has come up in the Discord. Two-handed weapons. Is that something that people can expect to see soon? Is that something that's being bantered about? What's the word?
Oh man, I mean, it's something that we've definitely talked about and we have plans to try to do. Right now, the focus has entirely been getting this game on the PlayStation and Quest. So, it's behind the number one request on the Discord has been get these games on these platforms. But the one right behind that is, well, I guess it's been Shields, and then number 3 is two-handed weapons. So it's a lame answer. So right now there's no official plans to do anything for it yet. We've definitely thought about it, and we definitely want to do it at some point. But for the time being, there's nothing.
That is I'm sure that's a disappointing answer for for a lot of the Discord community. But hopefully here in the near future, and it's totally understandable. You want to get this out to as wide of a market as you possibly can. I get that. So, all right. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through the questions I've got here because I'm trying to balance time on them getting ready and everything else. So, what has surprised you the most from what some of these contestants have been able to accomplish? In this game, what is? Did you anticipate that someone would be able to move through the levels this quickly?
I mean, no. It's the kind of thing where I always expected that people would get good at the game, but seeing it as opposed to imagining it is always just something completely different. And again, players like Croesus, like Impatient, like Keth, having them basically take the weapons and use them in ways that you don't expect is just exciting. I mean, my favorite is just seeing how everyone does the Monk of Rokar runs with the 2 offhand weapons, where we included this. So the Monk of Rokar was a thing that I think Croesus was actually the one that popularized, but when we put it in the game, when we put in the offhanded items in one of our early access updates, we knew that there was a possibility that players could pick two of them and use them at the same time. So, because you can't block with these weapons, we had to figure out a way to support that. And so the solution was like, oh, I guess we'll just turn all the block indicators to dodge indicators, because at least that way you can play the game and not be forced to block things that you cannot block. And then people have kind of run with that and made it their own fun play style. And so seeing players do nightmare runs with the monk has been probably the most surprising to me, especially considering, like, again, you're just doing squats for 45 minutes. It's just a lot.
45 minutes of squats does sound pretty dang brutal, though.
Yeah. Well, and again, like, to the game's credit, you can kind of forget that you're doing it, but still, like, at a certain point, you're like, oh my god, I can't move anymore. What's going on? Oh, right. I've been physically squatting, dodging enemy attacks for, half an hour to an hour.
Yeah, it's funny, though, that you mentioned that, because I completely forgot about this, but, when my wife and I first got the PSVR, we got, like, the World's Bundle, and that comes with that, that London Diamond Heist thing. And at one part in there, you're trying to shoot your way out of a museum, and all you can do is squat and shoot. And so, like, the next day, my wife's thighs were just killing her. Because she did it, like, 4 or 5 times, because she was just having that much fun with it, and then she could barely walk around the house.
Well, it's like, back before the end times happened and we all used to go outside.
I like how you put that, the end times.
It's like doing paintball. And, it's like you're doing paintball and you're trying to not get hit by flying projectiles, so you're just kind of doing this little crab walk or, squat walk. And because you're so focused on not getting hit by things, you don't ignore it. You ignore it until the next day, where it's like, oh wow, I can't go up or downstairs.
Yeah, back before the dark times, before the Empire.
Right.
I'm a Star Wars nerd, so. Okay, so I'm getting word that we're going to be getting ready here soon. So, production, whenever you guys are ready, just give us the word. We can keep chatting here, though. So.
Okay, confirm me when you're ready.
All right, then we're getting word. Players are good to start. So let's queue up the stream.
Good stuff. Let's get it.
Okay, players are good to start.
Yeah, I know.
On the edge of my seat.
I am too. So it looks like, though, because he didn't actually complete a run last round, this is just going to be Croesus and Cathal. Impatient has been eliminated, so he's an automatic third, but yeah, so we've just got the two of them.
Again, even though he isn't in this round, the fact that Impatient got here speaks volumes to his skill. So great attempt, dude. It was awesome to see you play. I was really rooting for you, man.
He did great.
Yeah, Impatient, we loved it. So keep it up, man.
Well, and I have to admit, I'm a little surprised because I was the one that kind of compiled all the submissions in terms of times and whatnot, and Impatient in his qualifiers came in second place. I mean, he came in with 16 minutes as his best time, and Cathal came in with 16:20, and yet Impatient, it's just
sure.
I don't know. It just goes to show how being thrown a curveball of something like using the guitars as opposed to what your usual build is can really work you over.
Yeah, it really shows
Absolutely,
to the total difference of the weapons. I mean, for me personally, I'm a big fan of the axe. In the games called Heart Splitter, and to switch from something so heavy with a really powerful damage giver, to switch to something like the guitars that's very strategic would be very difficult for me as well. So yeah, just showing the different characteristics of the weapons, and like you said, just the proof is there that having such a great qualifying time, and then struggling with something like the guitars, which is it's a difficult build to master. You can see how different the game can be.
Yeah, no, and this is the great thing about this game is the amount of variety that you guys have put into it. There's no one specific meta, like I mentioned earlier. It's everyone has their own play style. Everyone has their own thing that works best for them. I mean, if I remember from the videos that I watched, Cathal, I think, was running with an axe and a dagger, whereas I think Impatient was running with a dagger and spells.
Yeah, no, that's right. And the fact, I mean, some of the favorite arguments that we always had on the team was like, oh, well, this weapon's garbage. Like, why would you ever use this weapon? And then someone would use it in a way that really shows that, like, oh no, there's a niche here, there's a play style here that I hadn't considered. And so seeing not only players on the Discord argue about which weapons are good and bad, but also having the developers on the team be like having impassioned debates about the worthiness of the different weapons. It's like the fact that we all have different opinions about which weapons are good or bad. It hints that we're at least doing something.
So,
right.
well, and it just kind of goes to show that it doesn't. It's not the weapon itself, as much as it's the person who's wielding it. Because I mean, you could have the best weapon in the game in the hands of an amateur player, and it's only going to perform amateurly. And the thing that kind of reminds me of is back in the early days of World of Warcraft, when there were so many people out there that were just screaming warriors were too weak, they needed to be buffed and all this other stuff, because they were an underpowered class or something like that. And there was one guy who, after like a month of this, was like, you're all doing it wrong. And he itemized himself perfectly and showed just how overpowered they are by running solo through what was at the time an end game sort of mini raid. And as soon as Blizzard saw that, they're like, all right,
yeah,
we're gonna swing the nerf hammer on warriors. Now, to his credits, he was extremely good at what he did. And Blizzard actually hired him, as I recall, as like an item maximizer type of deal, or balancer, so that they had that sort of level of expertise. But it just goes to show, you can complain about a weapon all you want, there will always be someone who knows how to use it right.
Oh, for sure. And I think like there's people also love an underdog, so it's the kind of thing where it's like, oh well, this weapon's the worst. And if a lot of people are like ragging on a weapon, like it's always fun to have someone kind of champion the thing that's seen as, I don't know, the worst. And basically it's the chance to be proven wrong about like, oh well, no, this weapon isn't garbage because you can use it in this way.
Yeah. So I again want to highlight someone in chat here though, because they're saying, add Impatient, don't be blue, you did great. And I can't imagine having a lot of people watching. And while I agree with the sentiment, Maxima 333, he was blue. That's the thing. He can't help being blue right now because he was blue.
I mean, sometimes you wear it on your sleeves, sometimes you wear it literally all over your body.
Was that a cat suit he was wearing?
I think is that what you call those? Because I don't know. Like I just like those, the full body suits
or whatever. The only reason I even know that.
That's the name. I think of just It's Always Sunny is the one that my mind goes to every time.
A morph suit or a mocap suit is what we're being told in production here.
Yeah, I hear more.
You see, the reason I even know that word is from Archer. So, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I've thrown all the way back to, I think, season 2 on that one, so.
Alright. Looks like Croesus just finished the first boss, so he's taking it. I don't want to say he's taking his time, but he's like the really good times in that first round. I think has given him some breathing room. So like, he's got time to play with right now.
So Benny Boo is okay. He's asking if we can put up a poll in the Discord on which weapon is the worst.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
They're all my favorite.
Yeah, Dave can't pick his favorite children.
Oh, come on. You always got to pick a favorite kid. Okay, being the oldest of 6, I know that a favorite child gets chosen. And it definitely was not me. And of course, I'm not bitter about it at all.
Yeah,
not bitter at all. Yeah, I've only
I can tell.
I only went through 12 years of
say.
therapy to not be bitter about it, but still.
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah, daddy's money well spent, but
That's
still.
right, therapy well.
All right, looks like Keth is on the boss. I think he started a few minutes after Croesus,
yeah.
so it's hard. We'll have to see what his time ends up being.
Yeah,
but
he
like,
did.
He looks like
He
he's doing
spent a
pretty good.
little more time, I think, in the early screen, just making sure he had the right setup. I mean, his times were. He was cutting it close. We've got the times up here in our little Discord chat for the casters here. Croesus in his first run did 1952, and in the second run did 1914. For Cathal, we have him at 2451 and 2051. So with a 45-minute round, Cathal is cutting it really close with those times.
That's fair, but you can see that the second
Yeah.
run he did 4 minutes better. So clearly he's going to do 16 minutes this time.
And
That's just how it works.
yeah, and if he does that, I mean, that's going to be awesome. And the thing I think Cathal has going for him here, at least what I want to point out, is that Croesus, while he did do significantly better overall time-wise, 1952, 1914, Cathal had the biggest improvement between the two rounds, 2451 to 2051, literally exactly 4 minutes. And so if there's anyone here that has the biggest room for improvement and to edge someone out, it's definitely Cathal. Croesus he improved, but he's not improving significantly enough that I think it's going to make a world of difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Croesus can keep up, like if he has another 19, let's say 19 minutes 30 seconds, like if he gets another one of those rounds, I think he's pretty close to clinching it. But I think the wild card here is, like, I don't know, we'll see what time Keth can get, because I feel like even in this next round, I'm just seeing a lot more confidence, and the way he's just using the weapons, like he's just chewing through these enemies.
Yeah, no, Cathal, he's having a really good run right now, and just like you said, he looks really confident. He's using the alternating strikes, so we see, as he does, now he's just using his right hand, but so, you gotta guess what I just said. But he's using, looks like he's using a lot more strategy and trying to avoid those single-handed crit hits.
Yeah, no, he's definitely, like you guys have mentioned, and not to, completely echo this, he does seem a lot more confident. Like you can just tell from his stance and everything else, he is flying through this with the. I mean, he's just doing great.
It'll be great to see his time. Yeah.
Looks like Croesus on the tier 2 boss now. Not worried about him getting through it. I'm just curious to see which way he decides to get through it. Because again, like, the ideal way is taking them down simultaneously so that you don't have to waste a bunch of time, but you can't always rely on that. But it looks like, oh, nope, there you go, yeah. So you got Soulburn down, that's very effective. Here comes
and he did use Concussive Blast, at least that's what it looked like.
Yeah, and I think I don't know what level of Concussive Blast he has, but at the highest level of Concussive Blast, it will light it's going to light everyone on fire to do an additional dot in addition to the damage.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely geared himself right for being able to perform at this. It's just a matter of who's actually going to, edge off the other one at this point. I mean, it still really is game for either of them. You cannot tell.
No.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could just be reading into this, but like, the Croesus' times were great in the first round. I just hope he hasn't basically worn himself out.
Yeah, well,
yeah, especially while Cathal is gaining heat. That it'll be really interesting just to see.
Yeah, because Croesus' playstyle is very, very aggressive, and that's going to wear you out after a while physically. You can't keep up with it.
man, he's just chewing through those ads. That's like that is some good stuff.
So I mean they're both highly skilled. There's no debating that. It's just I have to wonder how much sweat each of them has right now. Like
oh yeah, sweating into a VR headset
no,
too
it's
is
not.
no fun situation to be in.
No, it is not. I mean, I've done hours long Beat Saber marathons, and it just gets icky and not fun.
Yeah, there's a funk.
Well, I mean, my wife and I have a rule. Anytime we do anything like strenuous in the PSVR, we always have to take a Clorox bleach wipe and wipe it all down. Every part of it, the visor, headband, everything. Just because that sweat does get in there, and we don't want it to start stinking. So.
Oh yeah, no, it's so gross.
But
all right, looks like Keth is on the second boss now, so he's getting through it, making quick work of.
So I know this is going to be kind of a small observation here, but I think one thing that Keth is doing right, that Croesus, I mean, it hasn't really affected him terribly. I mean, he's still playing extremely well, but Keth just has, based on what he's wearing, so much more mobility. With that sort of jersey sweatsuit thing, whatever you want to call it there. Because, I have one of those for when I've worked out and played Beat Saber and whatnot. And so, I know the mobility factor over just wearing a t-shirt. But it just goes to show how good Croesus is, that he doesn't need something like that in order to excel.
For sure. It's like the oh god, I'm gonna just really show my nerdiness here, but it's like Dragon Ball Z, like taking off the suit.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, okay, yeah, I'm wearing the weighted clothes.
Right. That's great.
It's funny you mentioned Dragon Ball Z though, because the first thing I thought when I saw this game, and I kid you not, I'm watching it for the first time, and I'm just like, now I know how all those moms in the 90s felt when they thought their kids were going to get seizures from watching anime. Because I'm like, there are so many bright flashing lights here. Which, for an ADD kid like me, it's great. But, that was the first thing that popped in my head.
Well,
it's funny because a lot of the stuff that we had, like in VR especially, like we had to be very careful about how we're flashing the screen and stuff like that. So like in addition to just like actual photosensitivity issues, motion sickness, and just designing good VR experiences in general, you have to be like very careful. And again, like you were pointing out, like there's a lot of bright flashing colors, but we do have a lot of options that allow you to turn those off.
Oh, okay,
in
that's
the event that's
good,
too much
because I know for me this would stack up eventually.
Oh, for sure. Like, yeah, we have stuff that turns off screen shake, the screen flashes. So we definitely try to be aware of different ways that we can improve the game's accessibility. Because again, we want anyone to feel like a.
So just on that similar note, but taking a slightly ADD tangent here. It's me. It's what I do. So speaking about just bright flashing lights and all that I have a funny story from my time back when I actually used to work in radio. Because back then they had sweet tickets to a minor league hockey team out here. And one of the times that I went, they were doing some Epilepsy Foundation sponsorship type deal. And they were saying, going into this whole spiel about epilepsy. And this big somber moment, and then immediately it's like, now make some noise! And he just goes crazy and the lights start flashing everywhere. And I'm like, these kids are still on the ice. I kid you not, it was one of the weirdest things. I know, right?
What are you doing?
Anywho, alright, so we are, Croesus is here on the boss. This is what, the second wave?
Yeah. Yeah, so it looks like he just finished getting down the first health bar, so now he jumped up, did his little angry throw missiles at you attack. Now Croesus has to get through this next phase where the fog comes in, and the boss is basically just going to throw a bunch of missiles at you. So once he gets through this is where the ads will spawn in. Man, I mean, again, to give credit to Croesus, that's a mouthful, You blink and it's gone. Like, he is just blowing through these encounters.
Yeah, he really is.
But I mean, this.
But again, you can see there on his health, like he's gone for the low health build. So like he's got the confidence to go for the low health builds that increase your damage.
Well, it's high risk, high reward. It's just one of those things. You trade off
Absolutely.
the certainty of being able to survive bigger hits with the potential to be able to just blow them away before they get those big hits. But I mean, it does take a good degree of skill to even get to the point where you could do a high risk, high reward build like that, because you have to have that degree of situational awareness that we see with these top tier players.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And what Impatient looks like he's saying in the chat, that combo is everything, which is totally right. And if you look at Kroos' menu, it looks like he has a combo hit of 8. And so whenever he's using the alternating strikes and using the power build, he can really take off a lot of health damage to the enemies and get through them quickly.
Yeah, and to prove the point, he just cleared the boss there. So now we're just going to see what his time is. Man, I'm holding my breath. I got to know. Keth is still making great progress though.
Oh, absolutely.
Like he's probably 1 or 2 rooms away from the boss at this point.
Is that 1753?
Wow.
1750. Oh my god.
Holy crap.
All right, well,
No,
not making
he
it
is
easy
not.
for Keth.
No.
Holy moly.
Whoa.
It's just
Croesus with the Vanna White showing off.
It's like on Price is Right.
Oh my god. Under 20 is impressive, and under 18 is obscene.
Yeah, that's a stupid time.
That's just disgusting.
Well, remember, he did get in the qualifiers 1542. Now, granted, that was with his ideal build,
It's true,
but still, he's known to do very fast times.
Sure. That is, yeah. I mean, again, like considering what we've seen though, like the fastest he's gotten is 19.
Yeah.
The fact that he shaved off like more than 2 minutes is what I was not expecting. That, like, we were talking about that, kind of like with Keth having the potential.
I was making that point, and that's, I mean, he's really, really set a high bar for Keth to have to hit now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Fools of us all.
I will eat humble pie on that one. I mean, I did not expect him to get that kind of an improvement, and he did.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's pretty wild.
So
yeah. No.
I mean, I think if we go back to he's going on another run. I don't know if he's going to beat that. But damn. Let's see. Yeah, I think he got the build he got with, again, the low health build, the high combo. There's a lot of traits in the game that encourage, basically like, oh man, I'm blanking on the name. Let me just look at my spreadsheet here. But there's a trait that increases the damage for every subsequent hit you do with the weapon. So having a high combo limit really just stacks on the damage.
Well, and yeah, it also makes for a very entertaining show to watch too. But Croesus does this very, very well, where he does keep that combo rolling. So, all right, it looks like Keth is on the boss right now. Looks like he just started.
Yep. Yeah, but I mean, he's about to end this first phase. He's got a good combo limit.
He just started and he's about to go into the next phase. That's insane.
And that's really good. But if you see, though, he's only got 1 health, so he has no room for error here. So he's got to be very careful. And there we go. Yeah, he's on death's door.
Oh, come on!
I hope that he can just close out the fight.
Yeah, come on, Kath.
All right, so he's gonna jump out. I believe that's in this. Yeah, okay, good. So a nice thing that it's clear that a lot of these guys are taking advantage of is that when the boss does a phase transition like that, when he jumps out of the arena, when he summons his adds, certain key points in the fight, we restore your health if you are on death's door. So. Clearly taking advantage of that there.
Yeah, he charges right on him. Just like you were saying, Dave, at some points it's much better to go right at him.
Well, and the thing that I've noticed too about
Use
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
No, sorry, I'm just cheering for
Oh, he's on death's door again! Oh! Keth, don't die! Don't die!
Come on, man.
Come on, you were so close, buddy. Oh, this is.
Oh, but look at that. So like that. Oh
That
man!
was huge.
All right, that was almost tragic. But so something about Shardstorm that a few folks know, and I think again, obviously they do, is that Shardstorm can destroy enemy projectiles. So like the boss was throwing like 3 or 4 projectiles, but by using that super at the right time, he just nullified that attack.
Yeah, he did
that was
really good with that. So, but like I was gonna say, one thing that I've noticed about like Keth and Croesus and Impatient and some of the other people I watched that submitted, they all know the exact mechanics and timing of this. Like they all know exactly when that AoE attack is safe to jump in on. Like it's so that you can immediately start wailing on the boss. I mean, that just goes to the level of how refined they are with this game. So.
Oh, for sure. And I think another thing too, like this is more general, but like they have learned the enemy attack patterns.
Yeah.
They've like basically memorized that to a point where they can do it without looking. And that's a huge part of like basically like the skill of the game is like basically reading an enemy's telegraphs, knowing what combo or what series of attacks they're about to do. And so having that level of awareness and knowledge is crucial to kind of
it looks like
fights.
He's on death's door.
It looks like Croesus is on the first boss.
Oh!
Did he die? No, don't.
Oh no!
Don't do it!
My stream's not caught up.
Oh!
Oh no!
22. Wow, that was surprising. 22.
Oh, that hurts.
It's that final
That's tough.
that final attack is brutal. Yeah.
Well, he's still got time for another run if he makes
Man.
it quick, so he could work.
You can still do You can still do one. Yeah.
But he's got to jump in like right now.
Right now. Yeah.
I mean, maybe a quick sip of water.
Right now, sub 20.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna jump back in.
Yeah.
But meanwhile,
I'm not sure if my stream is running behind you guys because you seem to know Keth died before I did, but.
yeah, Dwayne was ahead of the game here. I only caught it like just a little bit after him.
Well, you guys have been ahead of me like this entire time, so I just really put my my video down so I can catch up.
Well, okay, you want to know the honest truth though? I've just been BSing that I'm ahead of you the whole time. I just know how to make stuff up.
Oh wow.
Hey,
I'm
I majored in political science. I know how to BS my way through things and still get an A. So, but no, I mean this has been really, really good.
Oh.
So it sounds like.
I was gonna say. I was just gonna.
Oh, go ahead.
Probably say what you're about to say. I mean, production's telling me that Keth's headset is down. It's broken. It's not working.
So that's that.
Well, that is a bummer. I mean, very, very good runs from everyone involved, but I will admit a little anticlimactic here at the end. With only Croesus, with him being the only one left. I mean, again, solid runs. That's not to say anything negative about Impatience or Cathal, because they did really, really well. Just not quite the nail-biter, Kentucky Derby finish I think a lot of us were hoping for.
So let's see. I'm curious now. I will be shocked.
Yeah, that's going to be the question: is can he get below that previous time? Because I mean, I'm scrolling back up through our Discord here, and what was it? 1753. Let's see what he can do. I mean, Croesus is good, and he's only gotten better with each run. So if he was able to drop 2 minutes off from his best run last time, or a minute and change, who knows? Maybe he'll be able to do the same on this one. He's definitely flying through it like he did before, though.
Yeah, this is a very fast run right now. Yeah.
Giving a nice view of the inside of that pillar. Love to look inside that level, Geo.
So they're actually kind of making fun of us in chat here right now. They're like, love how they're all talking about how behind they are from each other, and then they're all way behind what we see.
Yeah, that's right.
No one wins.
That's right.
Wow,
that's funny.
Well,
so McPuffins is telling or asking for Croesus to get sub 15, which would be incredible with a perfect RNG.
yeah, well, if he got sub 15, he'd be beating his qualifying time. I mean, that would be a real achievement, because that was with his ideal build. So if he can do that with a build that he's not as comfortable with, I would be extremely, extremely impressed.
Absolutely.
I'd say probably, well, no, because every time we say something, Croesus just crushes our expectations. So I'm just looking forward to see what he does.
This is true. I mean, he does have this uncanny knack to just prove everyone wrong. So...
That was the Stabby McStabberson over there. That was a good one.
So I'm looking at our Discord, though, and Kath is just going off a bit, saying Croesus officially needs to stop saying he's garbage at the game now, though.
This is true. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah. If you are just minutes away from winning a tournament, you can't call yourself garbage anymore. That's
if you're winning a tournament, you can't call yourself. Oh, and now he's just performing for the camera.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, you know, the guy's earned it, so.
But again, like he's.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, of course. But I mean, again, the technique, like he's getting them nice and close together, like he's just he's cleaving them to do damage against both of the captains. Oh, look at that dodge from behind.
And again, it goes back to, and I know I keep harping about this, but it's that situational awareness. You just have to know what's going on around you. That's what Keth is saying right now in our Discord about how he just was not expecting the guy to pop up behind him.
Oh yeah, I mean the final boss is like his attack combo in that final phase is really unforgiving and frankly unfair on Nightmare, so it's just brutal. But man, but you can see here that like unlike the previous runs, he didn't get both of them down simultaneously, so he did eat up a little time here. So of course he'll probably just prove me wrong, and this will probably be the fastest run ever. But this could be something that kind of breaks.
He might just be kind of also trying some things out. I don't know because production did.
It's true, yeah.
Well, production did mention to him on the other line that Cathal, as his headset was having issues, and so he knows he's the only one left now. So he's just basically kind of playing and putting on a show for us, which, you know, is appreciative because people are here to watch a show. But it could just be, that he's just gonna, take his time on this. He's not in as much of a rush.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
But, all that having been said, we are nearing the final boss here anyways.
Yeah. Oh, man, but unless he gets got here, I don't know.
It's Croesus. You really think he's going to get got?
Look, man, you're just saying that maybe he's not taking it seriously.
I mean, Croesus strikes me as the kind of guy who's like, he could sleep his way through some of this.
That's fair.
Oh.
And there he goes. All right.
Okay, he's down. That was
it. Yeah.
Did not expect that. I'm gonna eat my words on that one.
See, Croesus, he had the win in the bag. He was getting fancy, and
got Nate. Press F to pay respects, boys.
Yeah. Holy crap! That was
some really impressive play.
That was really fun to watch, guys. Yeah, Impatient, Cathal, Croesus, like props to you for really showing the physicality of the game and the strategic maneuvering you need with the guitars. That was fun to watch.
Yeah, no, that was an incredibly good run. So kind of the same question as last time. Let's just start with Cathal. What could he have done better, and what did he do very well?
I mean, I thought he was going to have it. I think at the end there, just like it was a death by 1,000 cuts. It was just small mistakes added up, and when the boss kind of got him at that last kind of power attack, that was it. Like you could see it, like he was in control, even though he was losing the health in that final boss fight. So maybe if he was just a little more defensive, that could have made the difference. But I don't know. Like that's tough because again, he was trying to beat Croesus' time, and I don't think we knew then that Croesus was gonna shave off 2 minutes off his best time. But even still, like he had to play aggressively the way he did. So I don't know if doing what he did, I don't know if there's anything else that I would have changed or recommended different. But it's just, man, I don't know. Sometimes you just get those lucky breaks.
Yeah, and Cathal, he looked aggressive. He needed to be aggressive, just like Dave mentioned, because there was a time that he needed to beat. And there were times that he reverted back to his normal dominant hand strategy. I don't really think that hurt him per se because of the confidence that he gained from it. And just a tough go. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're being told that we can wrap it up here, but real quick before we go, same question on Croesus.
I mean, he just needs to be there 10 minutes. That's the thing. He needs to
I think you have thrown down the gauntlet now.
Yeah.
He might very well go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe in him.
For Croesus, it's literally him against the clock, and what good augments that he can get to improve upon his strategy. He's aggressive, he's smart, he knows the game. Like Dave said, he knows the enemy patterns, and just trying to push the limits of how fast a run he can really do, and to share the game to challenge others to get close to his time. That'd be fun.
Nice. Do that marketing thing.
Yeah, McPuffins is saying, sub 10, sub 10. Let's Croesus, the challenge has been issued. You are sub 10. Okay, so do we want to do an interview with him? Because there's some discussion about this in the Discord here. I don't know what the. Okay, so it looks like we're going to be patching Croesus in here for an interview. So, productions, if you could line that up. All right, yeah, we're okay. So we're good to go. Until Croesus gets here, how have your guys' weekends been? What are you doing for Labor Day?
Man, I don't know. This? No. No. Yeah, just try to hang in there. Just try to take it easy. Cook some burgers. Socially distant burgers. Living that quarantine life.
Yeah, Dwayne. What about you?
How about yourself?
Yeah, we're actually, I am in an undisclosed location.
Socially distant burgers, living that quarantine
National
life.
Forest, visiting some in-laws. So
yeah, Dwayne, what about you?
My weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, we're actually,
right.
I am.
My weekend's video games and
undisclosed
rips.
location.
That's basically it. So
in
let's
the Allegheny National Forest.
Let's bring in
visiting
Croesus,
some
and
in-laws.
we'll just rapid fire a few questions out of here.
Weekend.
Okay, I can switch now if you want to.
All right. My weekend's video games and rips. That's basically it.
All right,
so
Croesus, you there, buddy?
Let's bring in Croesus, and we'll just rapid fire a few questions out of
Good.
him.
How you doing, man?
Turning up Croesus.
Oh man.
Am I good? Can I talk?
All right,
Yeah,
Croesus,
you're good.
that was a
we
lot.
could tell
Hey, there, buddy?
you were
I'm going.
I'm dead, but
really
I'm
going
doing
pretty
How you
intensely,
doing, man?
Oh man. Yeah, that was a lot.
We could tell you were really going pretty intensely.
I still have you muted in Discord. My bad.
I've always believed in go hard or go home.
That's
I'm
why I
also
can't
a
hear
big
ya.
believer in you can't deal damage if you're dead. So yeah, you never.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah, that would be the issue. I still have you muted in Discord. My bad.
Okay. I'll answer the question again in a second.
That's why I can't hear you.
Is that everybody got me unmuted now? Dwayne too.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. I always believe in go hard or go home, and I'm also a big believer in you can't deal damage if you're dead. So I always try to maintain that health balance versus
again, you made it really
trade-offs that you can get
like going for that build. Like I love it because
you're not real pretty if you die. So
high risk, high reward. But usually I can't execute. So
I mean, like again, you made it look really easy. Like going for that build. Like I love it because again, like I love the idea of that high risk, high reward. But usually I can't execute. So
yeah, but to be fair, in that second run, I mean, you were all or nothing, but you did kind of know at that point
There's
that
nothing
you were
that
the
gets
only
me
one left.
saltier than when I go all or nothing and I die to something stupid. It makes me so upset.
Yeah, but to be fair, in that second run, I mean, you were all or nothing, but you did kind of know at that point that you were the only one left.
We don't have a winner.
Yeah, and I didn't want to like. I was still like worried about it because I was like, oh well, if I die, maybe they'll be like, oh well, maybe you don't win, and I was like, I'll just go for it. I mean,
we don't have a winner, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, sorry, whoops, no one wins. That's the rules.
Nobody wins.
So I gotta ask, how sore are you going to be tomorrow?
Probably a lot because I haven't tuned into Until You Fall for a little bit because being one of the veterans of the game, I've kind of checked out all the content already. So, coming back to the game is always very rewarding for me. But it was a great pleasure to come back and especially to compete in a tournament. So thanks to Valve VR for organizing all this and getting me back into the game. But I think I'm going to be pretty sore. Because I just haven't done this in a while, and I haven't
come
done
on, the gauntlet's been thrown down, man. You gotta try it now. You've got a new goal.
Sub 10.
Oh God, I'm good.
Oh come on, the gauntlet's been thrown down, man. You gotta try it now. You got a new goal.
The closest to sub 10 I've ever gotten was 13:33 for the New Year's challenge back in December of 2019. I did that with the Spell Swords charm
look, man,
and
even if you do it on challenging or even
and
relaxed,
the Heart Splitter apps.
Getting under, you look.
I did that on
seems
challenging though.
You
It wasn't on
Nightmare.
Nightmare. It was just on challenging.
Well, look, man. Even if you do it on challenging or even relaxed,
all right.
like getting under, we can add some conditionals to this. Maybe that seems reasonable. You could do 10 minutes on relaxed. I believe in you.
I could do 10 minutes on relaxed with no bosses except for the Ether Horror.
Okay, all right. That's fair. We can add some conditionals to this. Maybe we can figure something out.
I mean, between all the cutscenes and the invulnerable animations that they do in the two fights, it just takes up a lot of time. Now, what I was really upset about, but you guys couldn't hear me at all, and my chat couldn't hear me because I had my mic turned off so I could focus. I could not kill both an honor guard at the same time to save my life, and I was getting so frustrated. Because like on the third run, I killed them both within like half a second of each other. Because others were like, "No, man, you got to go through us too." And I'm like, "No, go away!" Like nobody likes you.
You want to make this a competitive thing, and so you want to make it difficult to take both.
Yeah, no, I mean, like that's a huge time waster too if you're not careful about getting those done quickly.
Well, that's the whole point of them, isn't it? I mean, you want to make this a competitive thing, and so you want to make it difficult to take both of them down at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And my strategy was to try and deal the same amount of damage to both of them, so that I could just use my level 4 super concussion blast to put soul burn on both and just call it a day and kill them at the same time. That, as you guys could probably tell, that was my strategy across all 4 runs, was to make sure I prioritize getting a level 4 super on my